Cleveland Clinic, Florida provides individualized treatment plans for excellent outcomes of health problems ranging from the most common to the most complex, even in cases considered untreatable by others. Cleveland Clinic, Florida. Every life deserves world-class care.
All right, welcome to the KVJ ATS Podcast.
Kevin's eyes look insane, but he's got new hair. Virginia is a witch, and she farts in her chair. Jason is a spaz who's got an old man's ass. Welcome to the After the Show Podcast.
Yeah, hello and welcome to the KVJ After the Show Podcast. Just talking about random stuff, y'all. Random stuff, y'all. Also get to play stuff that we just can't do on that regular show. And one is kind of an interesting take on the Jussie Smollett case, which I know a lot of people were talking about. A lot of people got thoughts and feelings on.
They just said from inside that room where they did the police press conference,
Yep.
there's more photographers and press people in there than they've ever seen in that room, ever in the history of that room being used.
Yeah, well, you know, this is a big story for many different reasons. This isn't just somebody that, I'm going to talk here just real quick that all this stuff, the allegations are true. So,
Okay, that's your point of your perspective.
yeah,
of your
let's handle that.
Let's assume that.
Well, somebody's going to come back and be like, so I'm dismissing that part. So we're going with all these allegations are true. You know me. I believe in any situation, whatever, you got to...
Well, you're just agreeing with the Chicago police superintendent because he thinks the same thing, and he just said so in the press conference.
He thinks that he's guilty of it?
He thinks that Jussie took advantage of the pain and anger of racism to promote his career, and that's a quote.
Yeah, to me, that's the biggest question I have. What is the motivation for this? Was it self-gain, thinking that he himself personally would be gained? Is it a hatred that he has against Donald Trump, and he's like going, and anyone who is a right-wing Republican, that I'm going to do anything I can to try to make them look worse? Is it a mixture of all these kind of things tied in together?
I think it's a combo.
Is it that he has a weird psychosis?
No, I think
what is it that's the motive on this?
This sounds like a dude that was trying to promote his career, and he saw an opportunity because the one quote he had, or the one thing they're saying he had said, whether it's true or not, was that it's not getting enough attention. It's not getting enough attention. He wanted to stay in the limelight. He wanted to get. Look how much attention he got when it finally broke.
Well, my question, like the attention originally, what he was saying he wasn't getting enough attention for was supposedly a letter that had come into the Empire set that was very racist and nasty, from what I can gather. And I haven't read that letter. Has anybody read that letter? What it said?
Yeah, it's on TMZ.
What did it say?
It doesn't say much.
Was it against Jussie or was it against just the show?
It's against Jussie.
Oh, okay.
And so it said, it called him like the N-word and the F-word for a gay guy, and it was clipped out of a magazine. So it was just letters put together like a serial killer letter looks. And there's a picture of a guy that was very poorly drawn with a noose around his neck and somebody holding a gun to his head. But it was just drawn with like an orange marker. Like, it was addressed to him, though, because they showed the front of the envelope. And then they showed the letter that was inside. It's all on TMZ.
When you see him performing his song after, that is a person that wants to get the limelight.
That was the concert he had done where he performed anyway, and he talked about the hate, and he said, they're not going to win, and I'm going to...
You've got people cheering you on. You feel you're a hero now. I mean, it's everything. Now, you don't think if, let's say this was true, and all that, I mean, his career was going to be really, really great. People were supporting him. They were behind him. Who's not going to give that guy a chance?
If he got away with it, yes, this would have been great for his career.
I mean, how can you not give that guy an opportunity? He just went through hell. He went through something horrific. Let's give this person a chance. He totally for personal gain, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I was just trying to... Was he more concerned about the race issue and people that... do hate speech against blacks and gays, or was it more about I'm Jussie Smollett and I want a bigger career, I want a bigger spotlight?
The police chief is saying it's about him and his own personal career and his needs.
This is absolutely about his own career. It's such a it's such a selfish act. This is clearly a business move.
He's still talking, too. The police chief is still talking, but I can't hear the press conference. It doesn't sound like they believe him.
Well, and it doesn't sound like, the interesting thing that I'm seeing right now on it is anyone who is going with, let's assume that he did fake this whole thing and this is a hoax. It doesn't seem like he's got really any supporters left anywhere. No, gay, black, anything, where they're just, seems like everybody's like, dude, what you're doing is, Cardi B's even like, man, you stole the thunder of Black History Month.
It's almost like that. You ever see movies where in the trial, it looks like the person's, without a doubt, they're going down. And then this mysterious person walks in and whispers something to the lawyer. And then they something like that would have to happen for him to be innocent. There's too much negativity behind it. The police are saying they got proof.
They're pretty confident. I know that, some of the conversation that's happening is that, well, Chicago police is notoriously racist and they've got a history of doing this kind of stuff. They'll smudge the facts and whatever to prove the point that they won. And if they're against Jussie, then he'd be found guilty no matter what.
But
That's
there's also
about
people
the only
that
thing I've heard supporting him.
There's people who also believe the earth is flat. You know what I mean?
I know.
It's
absolutely, yeah. Yeah, you'll find somebody who'll comment on it. Antoine Dodson, he's the one guy that was viral probably almost 10 years ago, wasn't it now, right? Because he's the one, somebody climbed in his sister's window, and he's like, hide your kids, why? They're raping everybody around here.
Yeah, we interviewed him before.
Lock up your daughters.
Yeah, he because he was so funny on that clip, and then they tried, okay, let's clean up Antoine Dodson, let's put him in a suit, let's put him on national TV. And he wasn't in his element, and it just didn't work. And you're like, he's a funny guy when he's like ad-libbing off the cuff. You catch him on a news thing, and he's just very matter of fact, and he can say whatever comes to his mind. He's a funny dude. But yeah, it didn't work when they tried. I remember they even put him on an award show. I remember when he was supposed to do a skit, and it was just like, ugh.
He went through a big religious phase too, I think.
Did he?
Yeah.
I feel like based on this clip, he's out of that.
I would agree.
Is he commenting on the whole Jussie thing?
Yeah, he comments on the Jussie Smollett thing. Now, when we had seen him and when he went viral, he was, in Alabama. But I think originally he's from Chicago. So he's commenting on the perspective of a black gay man who's from Chicago.
He knows what the whole situation is like for a black gay man in Chicago.
I can relate to what you're talking about here. So here's Antoine Dodson's thoughts on the Jussie Smollett case.
But this Jussie Smollett shit, Jesse, I'm from Chicago, right? So I know the lifestyle we live. For one, they said your ass was out there at 2 a.m. Anytime a sissy is out at 2 a.m., you trying to suck some dick. Let's just be real. They saying like there was 2 white men putting nooses around his neck with some bleach. First of all, bitch, white people don't even use bleach. And for 2, if they wanted your ass dead in Chicago, bitch, you would have been fucking dead. You would have not went to no goddamn hospital. You would have been dead. So we gonna get all this shit out the air, get this shit out the way now.
All right.
Why couldn't we play that on the regular show? Do you use bleach, Kev? I know you're white.
I use bleach.
Well, my wife does like crazy, but she is Hispanic, so I don't know if that's a Mexican thing that has been handed out. But yeah, we use a ton. In fact, we use too much. It drives me freaking crazy because I pretty much only wear black workout socks. And they all have white splotches all over them. The bleach is just, and they don't use, because my wife, everything is, she's a terror, and just things are flying, and she has bleach in her hand, and it's splashing all over the house.
Yeah, I won't do bleach anymore. It's too powerful. I've ruined so many sleeves from using bleach. If it touches your, I'm mansplaining.
Are you mansplaining bleach to me? I do all the laundry.
How does this work? What's bleach?
Explain to me. No, please. Tell me how bleach works.
I'm a dick.
Oh, no, you're not.
This is another thought, too, from Brian about the Jussie Smollett deal, something I hadn't heard. If he did the whole mail crime, if, those fake letter, all that kind of stuff, he said the penalty for the mail crime alone is a maximum of 10 years in federal prison.
Was there some kind of powder he put in there, too? Or is that?
I don't know. There was something.
So many rumors.
I had heard there was aspirin that was like in the letter.
Something had come before. I thought that was years before. Maybe there was another letter that was suspect. I thought to the Empire set or something.
This case changes every 15 minutes. I can't keep any of the details straight.
And honestly, right now, I'm not following it. intensely. I mean, I'm just kind of reading a little bit, just kind of stay up on it.
Well, don't you worry. Over here at the Dirt of the Day, we are on this.
Any chance whatsoever this guy is innocent? Any chance? Well, we're talking negative.
Yeah,
or...
there is, because the thing that I'm thinking is that and I don't know the motives on. I can't tell you all that, but my one thought is I think it's going to come down to who's lying. Is it Jussie Smollett or is it these two brothers? And that's it.
But what would the brothers be lying about? I don't even see what the brothers lied about. 'Cause don't they have kind of proof what the brothers are talking about?
No, that they lied that they were working with Jussie. That that it would have to come out that these brothers, for whatever reason, had a personal vendetta and they wanted to
bring him down.
Yeah, and bring him down. And so they put this whole thing together.
Is that possible?
It's unlikely. I mean, honestly, I'm right now from what I've seen with it. I don't know everything, but what I'm seeing, I feel like a lot of people. I feel like it's unlikely. I feel like what I'm seeing right now, and the temperature of it, it looks like he created this whole hoax, and it's mind-boggling. And then, the only thing I just keep asking myself is why. And if it is for just promoting your own career, that's.
This isn't the first time celebrities done that. It's the same thing that guy did with the 9/11. He acted like he was doing that to get sympathy so he could gain opportunity. Sympathy, believe it or not, sympathy can get you opportunity.
I get that, yeah. But part of me was, I guess the question I'm asking myself is I feel like what is happening with the politics in our country, it's driving both sides batshit crazy.
Right.
And especially I feel like the more the liberal and the left they can't believe this stuff. And honestly, me, a dude sitting in the middle, I keep just kind of like laughing, and I'm baffled at like Trump and the spin and what he seems to get away with. And if you're really invested in it, and I'm not, I feel like I'm just along for this crazy train. And I'm sitting here watching this. If you're really emotionally invested in it, and every story you're just like losing your mind about this Trump stuff, that
it's gonna go make you crazy.
That he just snapped and went crazy, and his hate for Trump and Republicans and right wings and everything else that's going on, and you throw into it what's happening with our society and the conflict over race, just made him snap, and he's like, I got to just make something happen.
That's not an excuse.
And that might not be, and that's the only thing I'm asking myself. Is that what did it, or is it purely for him wanting to improve upon his name and make more money and be more famous himself?
It was probably 75% about him, but it was also very convenient to his political agenda to make Trump look bad, because I think they went back and dug and found that he's put up anti-Trump tweets before and had things to say that were anti-Trump.
That's why,
it fit right in. Of course, he's more concerned probably about his career and furthering that.
And it could be both. It could be 60% I care about my career, 40% I just can't stand, and I want to make anybody who's a Trump supporter look bad.
Right.
And that could be a factor. But yeah, it could be a sliding scale.
Hey, it's about me, but this is a bonus. I make Trump look bad too.
Yeah, it's probably not entirely one or the other.
Right.
It's probably a little sliding scale of one or the other.
Now, this is the thing. Will he admit it,
no.
or will he go to the end saying, I didn't do this, I'm not behind this? Because they'll offer him a plea deal to take a lesser charge, to take a lesser penalty if he admits or cops to some part of it. It'll be very interesting to see if for less jail time he'll make some admissions.
He is a celebrity. He is concerned with his image. He's going to do whatever it takes to get back into the public eye with people loving him again. That's going to be the goal. Whatever gets him to that area.
Even if it means doing 10 years in prison?
Well, I mean, I think you ain't going to be doing acting in prison. I think you're going to be, doing prison time.
But you think he'll continue to say, I'm innocent, I'm innocent, I'm innocent, I'm not taking any plea deals, I'm innocent?
It depends on the evidence. What kind of evidence do they have?
And then they find him guilty and he goes away for 10 years.
I think it's probably his best bet. I really do.
For his career, yeah.
Yeah, just for everything. I mean, I'm really trying to understand it a lot more, watching a lot more specials. Man, I've just really gotten a much better awareness of, and it's been eye-opening, just, our culture, our society, and, the history of America and different race stuff. And it's been very fascinating to me. And just, from some of the stuff I've seen, I think he probably would be better played to just say, this entire time was railroaded. I was set up. This is a setup. And continue that rhetoric.
Does the evidence, is there a smoking gun there's certain pieces of evidence, well, you can't deny it. You know, you're like, okay, I have to say I'm guilty. What kind of evidence do they have? I mean, it doesn't sound like they planned this out very smart. And if that's the case, there's gonna be so many holes in this story and so many smoking guns. I mean, where's the smoking gun? What is it?
Probably the weirdest thing, the realization that I've had over the last couple of years, just watching everything has been insane with our media and everything that's going on. I keep thinking so often, and Jen, I think it was Jen or Taddy, one of the two in our chat room, was like, yeah, we call it Trump derangement syndrome, where I, over and over again, I think, oh, Trump's the game's up. Ruse is up. It's all the house of cards is going to come crumbling down. Nope, doesn't. There's a spin on it. And I honestly, when people keep denying and keep their, what I think eventually they've got to say something, the derangement, it somehow keeps riding. I think it's a crazy thing that for some reason today, you can just stay the course and you're like, this is insane that they continue to maintain their innocence or maintain this story, which 95% of the world thinks is one way, and they keep with the 5%, and somehow it still works. Doesn't crash down on them. That's why I would not be surprised to see him maintain his innocence.
But the thing is, if he maintains his innocence and he keeps saying, I didn't do it, and they present all this evidence that says he did do it, and he's convicted of the maximum penalty, there's going to be a big difference between what they would offer him with a plea deal and the maximum penalty.
I know, but he would go to whatever he went to prison for whatever the crime, he would go in as a hero. And there would be people who'd be like,
but he would go
why
for
would he do that?
So much longer.
I know what you're talking about.
Can he handle it?
There would be a lot of people, and then people might start saying, maybe this guy is.
Again,
maybe this guy is innocent.
We're all talking heads. We have no idea. It's all going to be about what kind of evidence they can prove.
Yeah.
If you got great evidence and there's just certain pieces of evidence you can't deny.
Well, and we've only seen the tip of what they're going to throw at him because you're just talking about the 3 years for the false police report. What about if they prove that he was behind sending the letter and then they get him on the mail fraud and that whole thing and the FBI is involved?
It'll be interesting. I am fascinated with the story. I think everyone's fascinated with the story.
Super fascinated.
Yeah, because there's just so many little details in what's going on here. And I think these are the kind of thoughts that people are having internally. I'm having where are this guy's going to go with this?
The reason why people are talking about it because it's something that it's a bit hurtful. It's again trying to divide people, and I'm not a big fan of that. I want to try to bring us together. I don't want us to try to be dividing.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I want to do a quick chat room showcase. I always like to find like somebody today and do kind of like a big feature on them. David D, like to showcase him today. 2 comments. First comment was dumb and most boring podcast to date. Thank you, David D. This has been our chat room spotlight.
I got into a fight with the guy in the chat room today.
David D.
David D.
Holding true to his name.
I put the D in David.
What a dick. Well, then go listen to something else.
That's
David.
Who's the fucking idiot?
Yeah, who's forcing you to fucking listen?
It's boring and you're miserable.
That's what I do.
Let's do you a favor. You're released, David D.
Yeah, go listen to Mo and Sally.
That's the most amusing part of it.
It is a fun thing, that the psychology of hate listening.
Oh, it is.
It's fascinating.
It is. It's just
sometimes I get too annoyed. I got to engage.
It is psychology, and that's why all this stuff to me, and I think the Jussie Smollett case is fascinating because of the psychology.
Yes.
Little trolls like David D, who he just got off with that whole thing, and he loves it.
He's jacking off to this, right? He's like, oh, Kevin's pissed off. Oh yeah.
No, it was just funny, but it's the psychology of all this stuff. And that's just it. I sit back and I look at the madness in our world. I'm like, what is going on? It's crazy. This story, like right here, somebody sent in an email here. I'll read the email and then see if I can say the name. It says, my family and I are in a situation where the police in our neighborhood aren't doing anything about this neighbor that we have. The whole neighborhood has a problem with this person. The neighbor continues to threaten our lives, stating words of, I'm going to kill you. Now, I understand the police can't do much with just a verbal threat, but this past Monday, he tried to run over my stepdad with his car.
Oh, my gosh.
And we've got it on video.
What?
And the cops continue to say they can't do anything. In the video, you can see him purposely veering from the road onto the sidewalk trying to hit my stepdad. It was not an accident. We're trying to press charges as after he tried and failed to hit my stepfather, he then got out of his car and then started a fight with my stepfather. So we're trying to press these charges. The cops aren't letting us, telling us there's no case here. But I'm pretty sure this is assault and battery, is it not? We just need legal help, and we just don't know where to start. And I listen to you guys every morning.
You may need to go get an attorney because if you
that's
have
crazy,
evidence
right?
of someone trying to run over your stepdad and then starting a fist fight with them, I mean, the cops need to take it serious if you're getting the full story.
Yeah.
It just sounds crazy that you would present all this evidence and they would just be like, nope, not enough evidence.
Yeah, I don't, that boggles my mind. But I do, honestly, the more I'm watching a lot of these specials, and it's stuff where you're just like, what? None of this makes any sense. And is here like I probably one of the things I pride myself on. I feel like I'm very logical, very sensible.
You are.
And
Everybody in your house tells you you're not, but you're the most sensible, logical guy I know.
right, and that's what makes
Sometimes
me
too logical.
But that's what I agree.
Yes, you're too fucking down the middle.
I
You have
agree.
zero emotion in it. You have zero
Right.
bias. You always try to hear both sides. It's kind of frankly annoying.
But actually,
how fair you are.
No, I can tell you keep your emotions bottled up because every so often you'll have a moment of being a human and go, all right, he's at a breaking point. His emotions are
But they have
getting
to break you
They do.
to get you to show any kind of bias or emotion because you're so fair and you're so, well, let's look at both sides. Well,
Yeah.
is the cup half empty or is it half full? Like, you really do take thoughtful time.
But even as that guy, there are things that throw you in the spin zone where you're just like, this is insane. But yet, it's kind of like with my family, too, where they're going, you are completely off your rocker. And you're like going, no, you're the one off your rocker. And then you're like going, that's just it. And it's really kind of interesting because I've had to, been reading these things and they say, you know what, when you're arguing with a fool, somebody walking by doesn't know the difference. And, and so I look at that and I'm like, unfortunately, though, that means all you can do is just shut up and just be like,
okay.
Take
it.
Yeah, you really.
Fool wins.
In a sense, yeah. The fool, just by being loud, in a sense, does win. And so, yeah, it's really kind of crazy. So a story like what you're talking about here, yeah, it's possible because I keep seeing insane things like this, like I said, the Jussie Smollett story, to me, it's completely insane, but I would not be surprised to see where the dude just maintains his innocence, and the whole time people are going, yep, nope, he's innocent.
There'll be a lot of people that think he's innocent.
Yeah.
And then it'll become a divisive thing.
Well, you had if you're old enough to remember, you had the thing that happened with OJ in the 90s, and ESPN finally did a special on that made me understand why. And it really had to do with, and somebody got on there and they were black and they had said, you know what, we just had lost so much, especially when it came to the cops. We honestly, a lot of us, we thought OJ was guilty of sin, but we needed a win.
Right.
We needed a win at any cost, and it didn't matter what it was. Unfortunately, OJ became our black white knight because we just needed a win. And you're right.
That's crazy to think about, but yeah.
Sometimes these stories, when you've lost so much, you just feel like, okay, I'll
the
take
culture.
I'll
the
take
environment.
take anything I can get. Fascinating stuff.
Yeah.
Fascinating stuff.
Sorry, David Dick.
No, yeah. He's
We
loving it.
continue
He's
on.
saving the podcast. He's loving it. He's made his day.
Oh, he's so loving
excited.
it.
He's a weird person like everyone else out there.
We are all weird. I'll give you that.
We're all so weird. Let me see. People really are into the DNA talk. I'll just summarize. I know we've hit this a ton. But talking about the DNA results that are out there, I think it's the kind of stuff that is changing our society today, changing stories, cold cases, not going to be cold cases, missing person stuff. It's changing all that kind of stuff. Did you just have a new story?
Yeah, we're talking about it on the Weird Whatever podcast. We can talk about it. We're doing that tonight at 6 o'clock, by the way.
Tease the story. Tease it.
I don't have it pulled up. I wish I did. Hold on. I didn't know we're
What's the
talking
premise?
about it.
Just give me the premise. You don't have to give me the meat.
It was, I think, an 11-year-old girl missing since like 1973. They just arrested the killer. He's 71, and it was a cold case file. DNA brought that son of a bitch down.
Because probably one of his relatives got an Ancestry.com test, and those results get turned over to a lot of law enforcement now.
Yeah.
And they get access to everybody's DNA. And
Yeah.
they can find these killers even if the killers have never done a DNA test because they trace it back to your family.
Yeah, and there's just some people that saying, look, I'm not comfortable with the government having this kind of access and this kind of...
I like it.
Yeah, and
I think we should all do it.
different
because
people feel different ways. I agree. Me, I don't feel like I have anything to hide, but if I really started going down the deep rabbit hole and somebody was showing me all this stuff, being like, going, you're right, used for devious motives, it could be really bad for me.
No, but if it's catching killers,
I hear what you're saying,
and it's
Virginia.
given this family who hasn't seen their child since 1973.
I think the topic you're on is probably a 3-hour podcast all in of itself.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if that's how they. I just know DNA was the reason why they arrested this guy and got him. I don't know if it was because someone took a test and a relative did all that.
Well, that's how they got the Golden State Killer.
Yeah, that is starting to happen. But then I even read a case and saw a special about how they did the same thing with the guy. They thought he was a murderer because his brother or his long-lost cousin took the DNA test. And even though it said it was him, they said it was kind of inconclusive. They couldn't 100% guarantee that DNA was his DNA. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's still baffling. And, Taddy in the chat room saying one thing that a lot of people have, you do that test and you no longer really own your own DNA. And it is, kind of a weird thing that they got going on there. And somebody said, I had a friend do the DNA that they got for a gift, and he was contacted by people finding service about a child looking for a parent. And this is the kind of stuff that's happening. Went and had sent an email here and said, I got a similar story with all this kind of stuff that's going on. Got contacted by a woman via Facebook. She's 54, I'm 40. Turns out it was a long lost sister, kind of like situation. And it wasn't only that had happened. He had a sister he didn't know about that had happened. But also my grandmother had an affair with an Italian pub owner when my grandfather was overseas for World War II.
Oh, that sounds sexy. An Italian pub owner.
So he comes back from the war and raises a kid he thinks is his, but it's the Italian pub owners.
Whoa.
Yeah, from here in the States. And he wound up leaving his wife and taking the kid he thought was his biologically down to Florida from Pittsburgh.
Wow.
Wasn't even his biological kid. He's like, I'm going to take my son and move. And she's like, oh, all right. That's not your son.
Wow.
And he now, and he's like, my dad's 76, and I don't think, we're not going to tell him.
Don't tell him.
Yeah.
My girlfriend was going through the same exact thing. And if there's something really traumatic and life-shattering, and you've got elderly parents, you know what? They don't need to know.
Right. His
Don't tell
dad's
'em.
76. His grandpa, who also wouldn't have known, died in 1977. So he said, what's the point?
What's the point of telling them and shattering their whole world and freaking out the elderly? I'm not a fan of that.
So I just got an update on that case we were just talking about, where that 11-year-old girl, the cold case from 1973, it was through the someone in his family did the DNA test, and they linked it to the killer.
This is happening so much, and I think it is so awesome.
I mean, if you are a murderer that's never been caught, because, you have to have the DNA in the system to match it. You have to have the crimes in there. But if you are someone that was good enough to not be caught.
And back in the day, you didn't care about DNA.
Yeah, exactly. Like the
You
70s
wouldn't have been careful.
and the 80s, you got to be shitting your pants now, because at any moment, knock on the door, you're fucked.
Isn't that great,
Oh,
though?
I love it.
I love it. I
Love
just
it.
think it's a beautiful, wonderful, and I hope they get these guys before they all start dying off. That's really my hope, because they're all getting old.
Yeah, I know,
The Golden
that's-
State Killer, he's like, what, in his late 70s?
Yeah, this
and
guy's 72, and he got
Yeah.
away with it his whole life. It sucks.
It sucks that they're not getting them till now, but at least they're getting them.
It's just really crazy, because I can't believe how many emails we get, even in the chat room. Everybody, it seems like, has got they've got some kind of story about what's going on. It's crazy.
DNA drama, baby.
Yeah, it just goes to show you how twisted some. So I mean, honestly, about every family's got twists and turns.
You're right.
You're right.
You're right.
And
Something
those
bizarre in
secrets
it.
that you thought were locked away and no one was ever going to know,
yeah.
now everybody's going to know.
It would be interesting if people are a lot more open and honest now about stuff, about their infidelity and things like that, because, hey, before there wasn't really a system of checks and balances. And now knowing that there is, saying, oh my gosh, I know that either I am impregnated or I'm impregnated by somebody that I got to be open and honest, because we can figure this out pretty quick. Yeah, it's
a different day.
It is. Everything's a different day.
Do you think we've got at least one person listening in our audience that has murdered somebody, gotten away with it, and they're hearing this conversation, they're going, oh, this is giving me anxiety because I know that my days could be numbered? What are the percentages on that?
No, I don't think any KVJ Nationers. Now, Mo and Sally got a few, but we don't have none.
No way.
Our people
By the way,
are...
I'm not. I said Mo and Sally earlier. I'm not trying to pick on Mo and Sally.
I'm not either.
I like Mo and Sally very much.
Nah, it's all craziness. All craziness. Let me see a couple of comments going on. Yeah, somebody did text in. It's well stated, too. Earlier, what I was kind of talking about with the Jussie Smollett thing and just where this thing might go is how many minorities have been wrongfully prosecuted compared to white folks. White people think that minorities just want something to bitch about, but it's a problem. Most white people don't want to face the ugly truth. And yeah, and that is a feeling is I watch a lot of the specials that I have. 13 was one. I finally got through that on Netflix. That's really good. I'd recommend anybody to go out and kind of watch these things. It gives you a different perspective of people who live in our own country. And, you know, you look at our country a little bit differently. And, you know, I think you continue to have these things that happen with our society. The one thing I took away from all of it is it'd be nice if we could get to a place in our country where we kind of reset things and say, yeah, you know what, trial and error in America was a great experiment and there's been a lot of failures. We haven't done it right, but we're learning. We're getting better. Let's just kind of like all try to get to a place where we can kind of hit the reset button and let's try to lift everybody up so that we're on equal social status. We all truly do have the same rights, the same opportunities. You know, and let's try to, and we're not there. We still do. There's some socioeconomic things. 13 will let you know about what's wrong with the prison system. So there's a lot of things we still got to fix, but, you know, we can all get on the same page, identify and say, yeah, let's fix it and let's hit the reset button. Let's be what America should be.
Well, trying to, you know, unify and get a little unity.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's why I think we got to talk about it more. Yeah, I think we got to talk about it more, and we got to all get on the same page and say, hey, look, you'll realize if you're frustrated like a Jussie Smollett, if you're out there thinking, man, anybody who seems to have white skin, I think they all feel this way. No, that's not the case.
No, that's not true.
And then that's just it. But if you sit there quietly and idly by and don't say anything, then people are like, well, I assume because you didn't say anything that you agreed with it. And I think that if we all start to talk a little bit more and we recognize what is good, and that is equality for everybody, and we're all on the same page as Americans fighting for it, then we can get there.
Quit telling me how I feel, please. Nobody can get inside my brain. No one's inside my soul and my heart. I know what's there.
They try to, and that's why I think if more people do step up and they see that, you know, from the white community and other communities saying, look, hey, let's link arms and let's go attack this together and make this thing happen, I think that will go a long way to healing some of these stories. And then your Jussie Smollett's going to have to find another thing to try to make himself famous with. It's not going to work with that. Noelle sent an email in. She said, hey, I just want to give a high five to Leo for being a star on yesterday's ATS. He's hilarious, is the new champion of the Naked Mile, and I loved hearing him sit in. And here's my vote for next week in case anyone is keeping track. Kevin, have a wonderful and enjoyable Buckeye cruise. VJ, DS, and T, have as much fun on any days off you take. But if we can have a VJ, DST show for a few days, then please do that instead of best of shows. We want our live KVJ in any combination we can get it. So.
Yeah, no, we're absolutely doing that.
Yeah, so you'll have live VJD on Wednesday and Thursday, and then Friday we're all back.
Mm-hmm. Okay, good.
But Monday, Tuesday, everybody's gone. And
I got an email from our former intern, Christina, who was with us 8 years since she's left Florida, and she's with a friend of mine who does a great radio show in Houston, Texas, and she's been there with them for a couple of years.
This is the one that famously won a booby bounce contest.
Yes.
And for good reason.
Way back before the #MeToo era.
Oh, yeah. Imagine us doing that bit now. Shit. Oh, my gosh.
What do you see? An intern booby bounce contest. What could go wrong?
Yeah, can we not bring that back up again, Virginia?
She loved it.
I know. She's very cool like that. But she is coming back to South Florida like this weekend, and she had wanted to sit in. In fact, I think she's back in like maybe today or tomorrow.
Oh.
And she just heard, because she still listens to the podcast, she's like, go figure. The first time I'm back in 8 years and everyone's gone. She wanted to sit in on the show on Monday.
On Monday?
Yes.
Oh.
Everyone's gone.
Oh, crap.
But she had sent a funny long email, you can see lengthy, about they had Rob Schneider in their studio, and I read the whole thing, and I'll cut it down way short. He said some things like he couldn't get on the Wi-Fi and da-da-da, and he made some comments to her and this and that. I just really think, and I've watched Rob Schneider's show that he'd had, the one he did on Netflix with his wife. I really think a lot of it is just that's kind of his.
He's a complaining dick.
That's kind of that's his style. That's how he talks. And
Yeah, he's just kind of he's got a dicky personality. Doesn't mean he's not funny. Doesn't mean people don't like him. He's kind of a dick.
Yeah, that's kind of his thing.
I kind of like him.
Well, no,
I get it.
That's just it too. People
I don't do well with that.
Yeah, no, because you're kind of a dick, so it kind of No, I'm just kidding.
I am nice until somebody else is a dick. But if you
joking.
come at me with
All
your
right,
dick out, I'm going
Thanks,
to double
Jay
down.
Bird. Look at what you
Kidding.
did
Good
now.
Lord, can we?
The crow has landed.
Gosh, the crow.
And furthermore,
The crow's not dressed in a black dress today. What happened?
throwing you off, bitch.
I like the outfit.
Thank you.
She's a colorful crow.
I ate a lot of pizza yesterday. This is my fat dress. I went nuts at the pizza girls.
For you.
I'm shameful today.
Okay. Thank y'all for locking in today. Appreciate it. Everybody. Even you. Was it David D?
David D.
David D. You made him a star.
Love y'all. We'll talk to you guys later. Goodbye.
Cleveland Clinic, Florida provides individualized treatment plans for excellent outcomes of health problems ranging from the most common to the most complex, even in cases considered untreatable by others. Cleveland Clinic, Florida. Every life deserves world-class care.